Hello, I'm Lukman Haris and you are watching The Marketplace, a show where we talk to the mid and small cap companies of the Bursa Malaysia. Today we talk to a company that's no stranger to Malaysians, the long-haul affiliate of low-cost carrier AirAsia X. And its CEO, Benyamin Ismail, joins me. Ben, welcome to The Marketplace.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, it's been quite a good year for the group. AirAsia, as a group, expects to fly 29% more passengers by the time the year ends. How much of achieving that goal, that number, is put on AirAsia X?
Well, quite a bit. We've grown probably at the rate of about 28%. I think that's something on the back of a very difficult last, 2 years. And I think the loads as well, into load factor, is also up, considerably as well to about 79%. So I think for next year, I think the growth is going to be much more aggressive. I think we'll probably be hitting about 30%. And also be looking at about 80% load factor as well. So I'm quite confident that we'll achieve that.
I want to go right ahead to an issue that has been debated forever and ever, passenger service charge, which is the PSC. The group AirAsia X, in its entirety, has made its stance very much public. But what do you say to those who say that AirAsia is being very selfish in wanting for the PSC to remain uneven for both KLIA and KLIA 2?
Well, I think your statement's quite right. We're being selfish because we want to protect the consumers. We don't want the consumers to pay an extra 30 ringgit on the fare because of the PSC. I think this will impact Malaysia as a hub. As you see now, Singapore and Bangkok is all bypassing us because as a hub, their PSC is much cheaper, and I think Malaysia, we want to make that into a hub by itself. If you can, I think the math is if you bring the fares much lower, you bring more people in, and that's good for the economy. And that's something that I think the people out there don't understand, the impact on that.
Well, I guess that's a general logic, but do you think that the difference of 30 ringgit would actually cost less people to fly with AirAsia?
Well, you got to look into aspects. For us, we operate out of KLIA 2. 97% of that airport is operated by us, and you have to make sure that the quality of service is on par with KLIA. At the moment, at KLIA 2, it's far from it.
What makes you say that?
No, at the moment, as you can see, we have issues in terms of runway depressions that goes on. Every month, there's always road work, repair works on it. We have to close our operations for a few hours because of that. We have fuel leaks across all our parking bays where, it causes delays for our flights. Structural issues at the airport. There's a lot of other issues that happens which doesn't go out to the media. So little things. So we are fighting our cause. If the airport is as good as it is, then maybe we can potentially think about it. But now it doesn't warrant a $30, in terms of ringgit PSC increase.
Interesting, you mentioned issues that don't go to the media.
Yeah.
Issues such as what?
No, like structure, or even the runway issues. I think a lot of it is just more about PSC talk rather than what happens behind it. So
I'm not going to ask your stance on whether the quality of service between the two airports are the same or not, because I know that AirAsia has made its stance clear. But if you can put, let's say, a number, a percentage, how much different is the quality of services between the two airports, KLIA 2 and KLIA?
Well, in terms of, first of all, you just got to look at the operational side of it, things. That is not on par. That's something that they have to really, really fix. I think that airport was built. It doesn't justify as well for the cost of airport that was built. For us, LCCT, where we operated before, was perfect airport for us, and we brought 15 to 20 million passengers into that airport. And it was a great airport. And I think KLIA 2, we wanted a functional airport. They built not a functional airport, and something that we don't want to operate. But I think that's something that if they want to cater for us, they have to cater for the operational side of things, which at the moment is far from where we think is right.
Nevertheless, AirAsia is AirAsia and AX is AX. You are you've been voted the best low-cost airline for the 9th year in a row earlier in the year. Congrats for that, by the way. But would you think that a difference of 30 ringgit would actually cause people to say, no, I'm not going to go on vacation here and fly AirAsia because of this difference? AirAsia is all you got anyway as Malaysians in terms of low cost. So do you think it would actually come down to that if there is a 30 ringgit increase?
Well, I think, it will be, because for me, you're looking at, in terms of low-cost carriers where we carry people, we carry the masses, basically people who can afford to fly in some ways. It will see you flying less. Rather than flying 4 times a year, you probably fly once or twice. And the fact is now you see in the area of Malaysia itself, domestic or even international, the connectivity to Singapore is getting much more efficient. Your door-to-door services are much more faster than the plane, because to go to KLIA2 might be a bit further. So got to put that into consideration. The buses are getting more comfortable and cheaper. Soon you'll have a high-speed train that's going to go to Singapore, and all kinds of stuff. And I think that's going to be the point that you're going to draw people to move to alternatives, which is rather than flying with us.
Nevertheless, if the PSC is equalized next year, there's really nothing you can do about it. And AirAsia has stated their intent to cooperate, even though they don't like it. So you must have made preparations, at least financial preparations, to weather this increase in PSC. Have you made any preparations, and what are those preparations?
Well, unfortunately, the preparations is the fact that the impact will be on the passengers.
I understand, but anything that you are doing on your end to mitigate?
We'll just have to educate the passengers that this cost has to be translated into their travelling, and that's something that we have to be transparent about. Unfortunately, in the market where we operate, a lot of the things that happens around you, even the inefficiency of the airport, passengers blame AirAsia. So unfortunately, it's something that we have to educate people a bit more better in terms of that.
Yeah, that's the banes and boons of being a consumer company.
Correct.
We'll return with Benyamin Ismail, Chief Executive Officer of AirAsia X, when the marketplace returns. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the marketplace. I've been speaking to Benyamin Ismail, Chief Executive of AirAsia X. And now, Benyamin, before the break, we talked about a lot of things. But one of the things that the market has been paying close attention to for the past few quarters or even years in terms of AirAsia X is its turnaround plan. Share with us the progress of that plan.
Well, I think there's a lot of work has been put behind it. I mean, when we took over, coming up to 3 years already, the company was in heavy financial burden. I think they were losing close to about 500 million ringgit. So the good thing about it now is, we're about 7 to 8 quarters of profitability, which is great. A lot of things included painful decisions where you had to cut routes, we had to cut costs, we had to minimize the way we operate in terms of crew, even flights going to other stations where we have to turn around. So little things like this makes a big impact. So that has saved us quite a bit of money. And one of the other things that we have to focus on is really trying to build the brand itself, bring the marketing into the same level as where it used to be, and that drives up yields. So I think, I guess in the last 1 year, the routes that I've cancelled, I brought it back, and we are more mature now. Our cash balance is much better. So I'm quite confident that I think in the next few years, we will be back at the levels where I think that we should be.
Speaking about bringing routes back, I think Tan Sri Tony, sometime last year, said that you're probably going to bring the London route back here, London, by the third quarter of 2018. Are you on track to do that?
Oh, well, we're evaluating that every month, to see where the market is in terms of London. London at the moment, unfortunately, it's very over capacity. As every airline, goes, you got SQ flying at about 7 times a day, you got Emirates flying 10 times a day. So these are the kind of little things that you have to compete with, and that is really in terms of fare and even service. So I think for the moment, once we get a more efficient aircraft, we operate currently A330s, which can't go direct. But maybe if we look at the 330neos when they come in, it's something that we can look into in London again. So 3/4 may be something that we may look at, but if not, it may be a bit later.
I want to come back to the turnaround plan.
Okay.
On the business end of things, what can we expect from AirAsia X moving forward in terms of your capacity expansion, cost structures, and also your associates like AirAsia Thai and AirAsia Indonesia?
Well, in terms of the cost, we're pretty much the lowest cost airline in the world. So I think it's an inch lower, we'll try every year. But the key thing as well is just to drive yields and try to find markets there that's very underserved. We just started Hawaii, which is doing very well for us. We will start Jeju, where no airline flying, and Jeju, Korea in December. We are looking at Jaipur in February. So these 3 routes are all very unique to us, where there's not many carriers. So we're going to find that and build on that. Next year, we have probably about another 2 or 3 more routes that's coming in. So we're saving it all for the best. So, yeah.
But for the past 16 years, AirAsia obviously has made inroads in Malaysia and then in ASEAN and now in Asia. But as time passes, I think it's inevitable that you have to go bigger and bigger. You have to consider, you have to start thinking about long haul, even though it's not really AirAsia's thing. And you've spoken about this recently. Of course, obviously, AirAsia is low cost. So can a low cost, long haul model work?
It can work, but you have to go to a market that we feel that it's enough purchasing power. London, I think, is a great example that we can do. But again, we can also, there's other strategies we can do it. We can always set up a hub, like how we do in Indonesia and Thailand, as you mentioned earlier. So we can do that in India, we can do that in Japan, to connect that to London as well with the one-stop. So that saves us costs. Generally, you know, when you fly a bit longer, the cost of that flight will be more higher in terms of fuel, in terms of operating costs. So if we have a one-stop, potentially in a hub like India, and India has a population, you know, close to about, you know, 1.5 billion, why not? You know, that drives traffic as well to UK. So that's something that we may look at in the future. But yes, long haul is something that we may look at. But the sweet spot for us in terms of higher margins, profitability are 6 to 8 hours. That's the sweet spot for us now.
Tan Sri Tony has mooted the idea of an ASEAN visa for the convenience and also for the good of tourism generally within the ASEAN region. I want to go one further. Can we have, let me get your opinion on this, can we have an ASEAN freedom of movement entirely like they do have in the EU? I think AirAsia would be in support of this, obviously, free movement. What do you think of this? Can this work?
That's something that we want to do. I think that's one of the things that Tony has been fighting quite a bit about, you know, in terms of regulations, open skies. You know, it's very full open skies in Europe.
But regulations in ASEAN, has that been the main obstacle?
It is a regulation because a lot of it is in protection of their full service carriers because it impacts them.
Yep.
So in reality, I think they need to realize that as well. But there are some open skies that happens between some countries in ASEAN, but I think it's not fully liberalized at how it is in EU. So we have a team that looks into it and lobbies this case with Tony. So we're trying hard to push it, but if that happens, we will be as good as Europe. Because in terms of travel, ASEAN is you know, it's very well connected. It's close to about 800 million people, and if you can connect that with free travel, I think it's going to be a boom for us.
Would love to go deeper into that, but we have very limited time. Okay. The Q3 results, your Q3 results coming up very shortly, very soon.
Yes.
What can we expect?
It's looking good. I can say probably we'll look at another good quarter again for us. So, but fourth quarter as well will be a bumper quarter for us. So stay tuned. Probably next Thursday our results will be coming out. So I'm quite happy and quite pleased with the results.
If you can't give us a scoop in terms of your Q3 result, give us a scoop in terms of destination. The latest is what, Jeju, right?
Jeju in December, and then we just launched, I think, about 2 weeks back, Jaipur in India.
What's next? What's the next destination?
We've got one more, probably in China. We're just waiting for regulatory approvals. And we got probably one more, probably another one in India. So we'll see.
Can you be more specific?
No. but I think we're quite excited. But all I can be specific about is not many carriers do fly that route, so which is important for us to give people access to the world.
Thanks, Ben. Okay. Benyamin Ismail, Chief Executive Officer of AirAsia X, and that's it for this episode of The Marketplace. Send us all your feedback. What do you think of the conversation? Drop us your thoughts on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at 501awani. Download our apps. You can see they're available on Google Play and also the Apple App Store. You can also catch this interview on your podcast. Simply search for Astro AWANI or The Marketplace wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Lukman Haris. Thanks for watching this show. Have a nice day.